Can I be completely honest with you today? I'm a very competitive person, and I want to share with you a story. So this was about 18 months ago. I was in Malmo, and I was doing a presentation. I was doing one of our, introduction to property investing presentations, and I do these all over, all over Europe. And usually people ask questions, and we have a good discussion, and I share kind of the basics and the introduction to property investing. So I was in Malmo, and I started out and I started presenting, how does property investing work? What's the concept? Why should you invest in property? All the basic stuff. In the front row, there were three young guys. Hey, Daniel, thanks for that thumbs up. Appreciate it. There were three young guys who were sitting there in the front row. So they're probably about 18 years old, all three of them. And, as any teacher will tell you, when you got young boys in the class, they start to talk. And at my events, I don't accept that because I'm trying to give value to everyone else. So I kind of turned to them and like, boys, if we're gonna do this, then we do this together. Hey, good morning, Daniel. Yeah, Charlie. Yeah, guys, up early, got to get to work, right? Appreciate you guys being here. Appreciate you guys commenting. Thank you. Um, no, so I kind of like, all right, boys, it's a stop talking. And they were like, yeah, of course, we're so sorry, apologize, and I kept going. And then one of them like raises his hand way up over his head, and I say, yeah, sure, what's up? And he starts asking these very advanced questions about HMOs, houses of multiple occupancy, a niche strategy in property. And I get so surprised because I'm like, this is an introduction. How do you even know that term? And so I answer his question, and then we move on. But every 10 minutes or so, they would raise their hand and they would ask a question. And they were starting to get more and more creative, the questions. Let's say that. Let's just, the first couple ones were, what is an HMO? Why is an HMO good? Why would you do HMO instead of buy to let? But then they started asking questions like, could you do this? Could you do that? And finally we get to a place where I'm going like, well, no, actually that is not legal. You cannot do that. And I honestly, I don't remember what the exact question was, but I'm like, no, that's not legal. I'm like, but why are you even asking me this? Where did you learn these things? And they said, well, we were in the UK at a seminar, and it was held by this man, and he was teaching all these strategies, and they were it's really good, really creative, and he's talking about a lot more cash flow and bigger stuff than you are. I'm like, well, yeah, but that's not legal. So okay, and so they kept asking more questions along that vein, and so we kind of hijacked my presentation. And I'm going like, no, that's not. And they kept coming up with these like really creative strategies that were just illegal. They're just not allowable. And they're like, but he told us. I'm like, who is this guy? I have to have heard of him. Who is this? I know everyone who's serious in the UK. Who is this guy? They said, well, he's called Samuel Leeds. Never heard of that. At that point, I'd never heard of the guy. I'm like, I have no idea who that is, but I'll tell you, all of that is illegal, and that does not work. And and obviously in their eyes, it's kind of him against me. I'm going like, well, look, and like this just what you've learned is not true. And so after the presentation, they came up to me and they're like, look, I want to show you his YouTube channel. And I see, and he's got, like 10, 20, 30,000 views per video. And I'm like, well, that's impressive, but what he's teaching you is not right. Let me check with some of my contacts. And I text, one of the top solicitors in the UK. I text some of the top teachers in the UK, and I'm like, who is this guy? Who is Samuel Leeds? Do you know him? And multiple people replied back to me within like 5 minutes. So I was still there with these young guys. I sent the text at 9 p.m. Swedish time, and I get these answers coming back, and they're going like, well, yeah, I've heard of him. And so the first one who replied actually was Shimon, who you'll see on an upcoming podcast. Awesome. A lot of you know him here from the group, one of the top solicitors in the UK. But Shimon reached back and he's like, well, I haven't actually met the guy myself, but I met his students, and most of them have, they know very little. His mentees don't know much. So when they work with our law firm, we kind of have to teach them property. I'm like, okay. And I show this text to those guys, and I started getting more like, no, this is wrong, this da 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 da. And so they were like, oh, okay. And they actually signed up for our workshop, which was fun. But I came back to him, later because, the guy was so much exposure. I mean, you've probably heard of Samuel Lee. So much exposure. He's so much on YouTube. People are seeing him everywhere, and I start seeing, people reach out like, "Hey, Daniel, I've been watching these videos." And I'm like, dude, no, everything he's teaching, I've heard so much that is illegal, and I've looked at some of the videos myself. I gotta claim I watched some, and it's like, well, a lot of the things just aren't true, and you can't do that. And so finally, I got so frustrated. And as I said, I'm a competitive person. So I just made a decision that I'm going all in now on YouTube. I am going to try to build my YouTube channel to try to make sure that good quality teaching is coming out there. Not that, I might not be the best and everything, but at least what I teach is legal. So, let's start with that, right? And so I'm going to be doing a lot more on YouTube going forward. It's something I'm actually very excited about. But it just frustrates me so much because there are some teachers in the UK that are fantastic. There are some companies that are giving so much value, and we of course pride ourselves to try to be one of the best and give the most value. But there are also some that are, tricking people, scamming people, and it's so hard to see the difference between. It's such a tough to see that difference, and it frustrates me because every one of the people that buys from one of these scam artists, they're so courageous. I mean, whenever you buy an education like that, you might invest £10,000, £20,000, £50,000 in your education. You're such a courageous person. You deserve the best possible service, and that's kind of why I'm going to build my YouTube channel to try to drown out a lot of this noise from a lot of these teachers. So that's just I'm competitive spirit it can be destructive, but it can also be used for good. I'm hoping I'll be using it for good, and so I'll be coming out with a lot of quality videos on YouTube. I'll be having, I'll have the daily show that we come out with every morning. I'll have the podcast will be up there, so you can see the video version of the podcast. We'll have clips from different events where you can see us directly live. So it's actually going to be really, really exciting to build this YouTube channel and go on this journey. But I'd like to ask you for your help here, because if we're going to drown out all these, poor scammy teachers, what I need is your help, and I need it in a couple ways. So I hope I'm not going too far in asking for this, but what I'm going to do is, I'll be sharing this obviously myself, but I would like to ask you to share our YouTube channel as well, or quality videos that you like, subscribe to our channel, and help us get that exposure. And if you can reach out with kind of your stories, your testimonials, and I can use them in these morning stories, and then you can share that, that makes the whole thing even more powerful, and we can grow this together, because that's what it's about. We are a community here, and if we can grow this and grow the noise so that we drown out the noise of these scams, we can show people that property investing works, that we're on a journey that's, it's safe, it's secure, and it's for real. That will make it easier for us all to raise finance, for us all to grow, to buy properties, and it will stop getting people ripped off from their life savings. So I would like to ask you for that help. I'll be, I'm here if you have any questions, if you want to bounce ideas, but I hope you, help us out, subscribe to our YouTube, maybe comment on some of the videos there, like some of the videos, and please share them. The more we can grow it, the more we can drown out some of the noise. So I really appreciate it. Thank you so much for being a part of our community. And actually, this is going to be fun. I'm really excited. Let's do YouTube, right? Thanks a lot.